Today I'm going to be turning this pretty cool abandoned high school into this really cool modular haunted high school. How's it going, everyone? I'm Stonewall. Hope you're having a good day. If you saw my last haul video, one of the things I bought during all of those crazy Lego discount purchases was this Newberry Haunted High School set. I did buy it used. It was already assembled, but it was, like I said, immaculate. There's no stickers applied. It has all the pieces and minifigures, and this is a really cool set. But you saw from the intro, what I plan on doing is modularizing it. There are some really cool instructions on Rebrickable to turn this into a modular building. I was kind of thinking about doing this myself, but these just look really good, so I'm just gonna follow those instructions. And one thing I'm looking forward to about this modular version is that he kept a lot of the original features and play functions. Turn the clock and the eyes come out, the mouth opens up, hands pop out, and you got these little spooky things up here. So, and this little guy down here. So just a lot of cool things to make this high school turn into a haunted set, and I am looking forward to keeping those features. The only thing I really wanted different was it to be modularized so it fits into a city layout. But before I can build that modular version, we gotta tear this sucker down. So there you go, a really cool modular alt build of the Hidden Side Haunted High School set. It looks really great. I did make a couple of changes, couple big ones and just a couple of small ones. I'll point those out. But overall, it's a really great set. I purchased these instructions on Rebrickable.com. A creator by the name of Under the Bricks made it, and I'll leave a link to his page in the description. So if you're interested in this build, definitely check that out. The instructions are pretty good. They could be a little clearer in a couple points, but overall, it's a really well designed set, especially if you incorporate these modifications that I did, and I'll talk about those. So as you can see, the front of this building looks just like the official Haunted High School Hidden Side set. It looks really awesome. I don't think you can do much better than this, especially on the front here. And I really like these front steps here, how that third step is all crooked and there is a vine growing out from under it. That looks really cool. So this left part here is kind of an optional side build. It detaches. It's just a little, I think it's supposed to be kind of like an annex part of the school that has been pretty dilapidated. I think of it kind of as a bus stop, I guess because there's this bus sign out here. That did require some modification to actually hook into the high school, but I'll go over that in a little bit. So as we can see, the high school is 3 stories. It is completely modular, covered in on all sides. This is an addition that I made. I will go over that as well, but just spinning around, you can see it looks really good. It's definitely a high school. All right, so let's go over all those really impressive hidden side features that were incorporated into this build. First, up top, you have this little thing here that flips up. Then on the 3rd floor, you just rotate the balcony around and you see this little monster guy. The 2nd floor is really cool. You open up these doors, the right one first, then the left one, and you are greeted with those really menacing eyes. And then on the 1st floor, you open up the front door, and then you push in this lever from the backside to get this effect. I mean, how cool is that? This school definitely looks really menacing. I would not want to go in there if it was me. And it still looks a lot like the original set, which is really cool, really impressive, like I said. So taking a look at the backside, to get those claws and the mouth to move forward, there's just this little lever here. You just push that forward. Has a little stop thing there, so you put that down and it won't go forward on its own. You just lift it up slightly and then slide it in, and that gets the claws to go out and the mouth to move forward closer to the front door. It also brings these little wavy green things forward too, out of the windows. So since we're back here, I'll go ahead and show you one of the alterations I made. I only made a couple of bigger alterations on the set and then a couple of minor ones. First one here is this piece right here. The designer in the instructions left it really open like that. And as you can see, I don't really like that because there's a ton of colorful, well, there's a big opening here, but then there's all these colorful bricks and stuff inside there. So what I did is I salvaged a lot of these pieces off of the back side of here. That's why this looks really dilapidated and a lot of holes there. On the instructions, this is a little more closed in, but I salvaged some of those bricks and made this right here, and that just slides down like that. And I think that looks a lot better, and it still works really well because this thing can slide underneath that arch just fine. Another little change I made is I moved this clock from that side build into the second floor, kind of hanging out the balcony like that. I really like that clock build, so I wanted to incorporate that in the main build. All right, let's take this thing apart and look at all the floors. The roof comes off pretty easily. It's just connected on 2 studs on the back here. You just have to make sure to watch out for this leaf piece when you're bringing it around. I did make a couple changes on the roof here. This front section here was fairly weakly attached, so I took off a couple of things here to salvage a couple of 1x2 plates, and I put these little triangle bricks on top, one on each side, and that really sturdied it up. So you can take it on and off, no problem now. If we take off the second floor and take a closer look, we can see the hole where the stairs come in right there. There is a trophy case, a little table with pizza, like a little cafeteria, I guess, some food and stuff. Kind of ignore the monster when you're inside. The interiors on these are not the best, but it's pretty good for what it is. I'm glad the focus was on the outside. And then you have a little bathroom there. And then I like the 2 balconies on the 3rd floor there, that's really nice. Taking off the 2nd floor, I did do some modification on this one. The top of the 1st floor had 4 of these 1x4 2 studded jumpers. I just decreased that down to 2, and it comes off way easier now. So inside the 2nd floor, you see the hole where the stairs come up. There's a little skeleton guy there on the side. I think I moved that banner there from somewhere else. You see a little desk build with a hot dog and stuff. Of course, the back of the eyes that you ignore, and then there's a little bathroom. And then over here is the ladder to get up to the 3rd floor. And you can see I moved that grandfather clock right there from the side build. And here we got the 1st floor. We got some really sturdy stairs built with those Technic bricks, which is nice. Then you have a little area on this side with some sticker tiles, and you have a computer on that side. And you can see here the big door mechanism that slides forward. Because of that, the interior on the 1st floor looks a little weird, but it needs that room to be able to slide back and forth. So the other main modification I did to this alt build was reinforce this spooky door thing that slides forward. It was only attached at the bottom and was a little wiggly, and if these green things didn't hit the windows just quite right, it would loosen up and fall over even. So I reinforced that, and I'll take that out to show you what I did in case you want to do that yourself. So here's that sliding door mechanism out. As you can tell, it goes right on that blue 2x2 plate there. And what I did, I used a couple of these leftover Technic bricks and kind of made a thing here. So all you do is you use one of these pieces, plug in this guy, plug that into the bottom 2 holes of a Technic brick, and then you have a pin to axle piece here. Go ahead and attach that with a couple of bushings here to the 2nd hole, and then on the 2nd to last hole on the other side, use a Technic pin in one of these 1x1 bricks with the hole in it. And then that brick attaches into this back left corner, and this piece will attach to the 2 studs right behind where the door attaches. And there you go, you can see it's attached down there now, and that makes this thing way sturdier. I haven't had a problem with it coming off anymore. So I definitely recommend making that modification to this alt build if you have built this yourself. And then last but not least, we have this little side build that I talked about already. You can tell it is supposed to look really run down, and since I stole some of those bricks, it is even more run down on the backside. But as you can see, there are some of those kind of spooky green curly things. So I guess the back of the building exploded or something, and that's why it looks the way it does. But this build is pretty good for what it is. As you can see, it's only 16x16, so if you're putting it in a city, you need to like sit another 16x16 plate behind it to make it match up well. And you don't have to include this if you want, but I think it looks pretty good, especially the front, and that's kind of what you look at anyway. So there was one really big problem with the side build right here. It actually looked like that with one of those pins sticking out. And then on the side of the high school, as you can see, that's supposed to line up with this part right here, and that's another pin. And he's like, well, just take that out, but that's an axle brick, so that won't work at all. So when you're trying to put these things together, I'll show you on this side. they don't fit together. So I don't know how the designer did it in his video. I guess he built this different than it was on the instructions. And I read it in the comments on Rubric, well, other people have the same problem. So what I ended up doing to make this actually functional is that there was one of those hinges left that was like 2x4 plates with a hinge. And I took one of those and you just put it up 2 plates high and then make sure it's in between these 2 studs here. I think 10 and 11 is the standard spacing. Just make sure it's right there and then that will work just fine. There is one more of those plates right there, so you could potentially do it on this side as well, but I didn't want to rework all this. It was a little easier to rework it on this side. Just make sure it goes kind of right to the back of there and 2 plates high like I said, and then it'll snap together no problem now. And you can still make it work with the pieces that are included, it's just not in the instructions. So there you go, I'm really happy with this set, especially because I've been eyeing it for a while, so I'm glad it met my expectations. So I think for now I'm going to put it next to the police station, and if you remember on the other side it had the abandoned building, so that whole strip is not doing too hot, except for the donut shop, but I have a suspicion of why that's doing so well. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you thought about it in the comments, and go ahead and hit that like button if you liked it, it helps the video out. Otherwise, I will catch you next time.